Start off first, thank you everybody for attending. You were emailed logistics for attending. And if you're having problems with the chat functionality, you can call our help desk tech support, Phil Zuka, at 516-282-2880, extension 131. You should see his number on screen. Just a minute. There it is. My name is Alex Fodish. I'm the marketing director for the PVC brands. That's Perfect Video Conferencing, Global Call, and Pixel River Technologies. These are sister companies, and they strive to provide our customers with simple, elegant, and affordable unified communications solutions, voice and video, and the IT infrastructure underneath them. For the past 5 years, we've been an emerging leader in the VAR community in what has become a rapidly shifting, ever-changing industry. We were in the cloud before it was sexy. Today, we're excited to share our latest cloud or video as a service offering. That's Video Contact Center. We have an entry-level WebRTC-enabled contact center that allows for tracking across multiple call modalities. Today, we will be reviewing the direction we're going and soliciting feedback from you, the audience. While some proven video contact centers exist, we have a unique approach, and we want to show you that. As this technology matures, we're looking for partners to help execute our vision, and that is the purpose of this webinar. Today, we'll review the vision of PVC's Video Contact Center, look at an earlier version of the software because we don't want to give away too many of our secrets, and we'll discuss roles partners can play as we develop this latest cloud offering. With that, I'll hand it off to you, Randy. Randy's our co-founder and sales magician, and I'll leave it to you to take the lead. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Alex. If you ever have any questions about this content, too, you can also reach me at 516-282-2812. The other fine-looking gentleman in this call is John Kilcummins. He's our business partner of mine, co-owner of Perfect Video Conferencing, and he started as a customer of mine, and we were so impressed with each other's skills that we launched this crazy endeavor that is Perfect Video Conferencing. And so what we wanted to do as a context for Video Contact Center is not only talk about what that is and what that means for us, but a role that you can play and where we're going. And so I'll take that first part of it. John's role is going to be to show a little bit of the early launch versions of the software as Alex indicated. So first off, let me just tell a little bit about Perfect VC, and then in full disclosure, talk a little bit about the audience that has attended this. By opens to the invite, we had this is our largest webinar of attendance, and so we're pretty excited about that. So it sort of proves for us some of the data that we've already seen in sort of casual build behavior of our own, that people are interested in a video contact center, and it's a fairly immature space. As video contact center goes, and I think we've got a little over 40 or so people watching the live stream. What we're going to do over the next couple of weeks is post this stream as a recording out elsewhere. And what we saw across the registrations and the opens and the people who showed some interest is there's three main categories. We had some competitors, so welcome aboard and thanks for tuning in. We've got some of our customers looking in, and we're glad to have our existing customer base taking a looking at what's new for Perfect Video Conferencing. And then we've got some industry folks across a couple of verticals. There's some healthcare folks on this recording or on this stream. There's some legal firms that have signed up, and then there are just people who are VARs. And so in the space of what we're building, you all can play a role. We're not going to be able to get to market by ourselves entirely, so we're going to need some of those of you that are competitors to take this on as a project or a product and help us deliver it to market. For those of you that are customers and buy, you'll hear a little bit about what I'm excited about what we do for customer referrals. This will be a product that fits in that space nicely. And for those of you who have deep pockets and money or are interested in a new pet project, John and I are also going to be looking for some outside help to execute against the vision that we're seeing for this new software side of our business. So that's a little bit about the plumbing to this webinar, just because we did see some interesting stuff coming in through the registrations, and I wanted to be in full disclosure that we know some of you are looking Oh, hi, puppy. We have the office dog, and some of you are looking in and our competitors, and we like that. We actually would prefer those of you that are competitors. If you see something that we should change or something that you want to copy, maybe we just collaborate instead. And so, welcome aboard. We do make some great big assumptions about the market scope for this, and so I'll come back to that. I want to make sure that as we get into the webinar, you hear a little bit about where we think it's going. But first, I want to talk a little bit about how it all comes together as an ecosystem. And so I'll come back to the market scope. Very busy slide by design because it's sort of my working document about what the ecosystem looks like. But if you start at the very top, and we've got simplified versions that are newer for those of you that want to invest and want to see a little bit of a cleaner design. Really what we're looking at with Video Contact Center is an ecosystem that has interoperabilities upward, downward, and sideways. And you're probably saying, what the hell does that mean? When we go up, we're talking about reaching the consumer. Persons at home, on any device, anywhere, in the cloud, as it were. When we go vertical or sideways, we're talking about our partners and the information that they need in order to have this a product that they like. And as we go downward, we're really talking about, as that infrastructure connects, what's the interoperability with others, like Microsoft Lync or Cisco or Polycom. We're a life-size shop by most of our revenue. We love their cloud service. We love Blue Jeans. We do a little bit of Polycom business, but we're not direct. So we know that whatever we build in the video contact center space should interoperate nicely with almost everything else. Our platform is SIP-based. It's got Sugar CRM as a data engine. And as we wrap all of this in the cloud, we're also very aware that we need to pay attention to the contact center side of this for big data purposes. Like, so if this is going to happen, what's next? And so John will talk a lot more specifically, if needed, on chat around what this engine looks like or how it comes together. I first wanted to go back into the market scope. I promised Alex, though, that in doing that, I would also talk a little bit about who PVC is. And so I'm going to pause on the video contact center stuff first and just go into a little bit about who PVC is. So, and Alex, while I'm doing that, if there's anything that's coming on chat, maybe this would be a good opportunity to see if there is any plumbing that needs to be addressed. Give you a chance to unmute.
Yet, but I do.
Okay.
I do want to remind people to at least say hello over chat and try it out. And again, you can ask any questions or leave comments. That's the point of our webinar today. So please take advantage of that.
I'm not a kill you by slides kind of guy. So I just want to talk a little bit about where Perfect Video Conferencing came from and why Video Contact Center is our next evolution. So John started his business in telco and with a partner of his doing telemedicine infrastructure, and you'll hear a little bit about MedWeb and that brand later. He owns his own company called Pixel River, which has been doing managed services. And as I was selling to him as a ShoreTel reseller, we watched the evolution of IP PBXs and what Verizon and AT&T and the carriers were doing around channel and SIP infrastructure. And out of that was born our own video practice, focusing again mostly on life-size endpoints because of their great performance. Easeability of the technology was very familiar to us from our ShoreTel side. So as we've done that, we built our own VoIP solution, which is the global call brand Alex mentioned. We've been delivering that as both a managed service and a premise-based deployment. And as all of you on the call that are competitors or other resellers, you know that the market is rapidly changing. And so as we've looked at that market shift and the technologies that are available, we know we needed to do other things. And so some of our hosted IP infrastructure, the global call brand, and some of the SIP stuff is really what that has been. So that's really been the bread and butter of what we do, your traditional VAR. We take it a little bit a step further from John and I's practice at the carrier space. We brought some of that into the AV world. And we're able to make some pretty bold claims. We named our company Perfect Video Conferencing by design. We believe that if we can't get it right, we shouldn't earn your business. And so in selling to you, we'll oftentimes take a look at a guaranteed total cost of ownership. And if there's a case to be made around deploying video conferencing, we want to take on some of that risk. And so what we'll do typically for our larger customers is figure out what the return on investment cycle is. And if we don't meet that on solutions over $50,000 at the end of a review period, we're going to fund back anything we made in profit on the deal. John and I's belief is that if we can't do it right, and if we can't prove its viability, and if your organization can't use it well, why would we make any money on it? Doesn't make sense for you, doesn't make any sense for us. So we're one of the few VARs, I think, that are taking that step to put our money where our mouth is. And we're pretty excited about it. But there certainly is a lot more to it. So we want to be flexible, we have the skill set to do it, and we have a whole host of powerhouse partnerships that get us there. Again, I promise not to kill you by slides, but are a couple other things that I wanted to make sure I mentioned. Great. Yeah, just some of our premier manufacturer partners. Want to make sure that that's crystal clear for anyone who's wondering what endpoints we run as a VAR. And then let me go into, wrong slide deck. So Alex, pardon me, I'm just going to skip ahead to, I'm not going to show you our finances. Great. I'm going to go into the video contact center. As I do, there's a couple of questions that people have typically asked, and in the registration, we were asked a few questions that I wanted to address. One of them first was, why a video contact center? And then we were asked a couple of questions from some of our potential investors of what problems are you going to solve? And so I figured before I show you under the hood a little bit more about video contact center and have John do the demo, I thought I'd answer those questions. Video contact center, what the hell is it? And it's been one of the ones that's come up is if you think about your voice contact center and calling your bank, we're going and have delivered a product that does call queuing and allows a caller or an agent, so I either as an individual or you as an agent, can then escalate the call to a point of contact that can help that call be more efficient. We've also built an ecosystem that allows for multimodality. So if I start the call on email or text, I want to then be able to elevate it to a voice call at any destination, be it my desk or my cell, my home phone or my business phone, and then elevate it up to a video call, or de-escalate that call back through that modality or any of those modalities. And in doing so, are we capturing who's touched the call, why they've touched the call, and for how long? And that call data detail, we believe, is the business side. And so the question that typically gets asked is, why do it? And there's more to it than why not. We like the technology and we believe in it, but we also know that the technology can actually offer some answers to some problems. So I did just get a text message from someone saying that they're on an iPad and they want to see the content. So I'm going to go ahead and change my camera out so that they can see content. For those of you viewing on a mobile device, you've got one feed. Great. So thanks for that text message. I'm glad I caught it. And maybe we'll just do another re-record if you need it again. Great. So back to those questions. So if we create a video contact center, what are we going to solve? And what are the solutions out there that do this? There are a few video contact centers that exist today. We have not found any that are interoperable. So that's problem number one that we want to solve. And back to that slide, so you have it, is as we build this ecosystem and we put the right foundation in place, we want to then make sure that we're very clear about interoperability to other solutions. And as we build that interoperability, we want to make sure that we collect the data that goes with it. The need that we've seen expressed come through a couple of verticals that we worked in pretty extensively. You'll see some slides in a minute about that. In the medical space, we often know that a second opinion or an immediate consult or a specialist can add value not only to your own personal health care, but the delivery and the cost associated with healthcare. In the legal industry, what we've noticed is that if a person is stuck on a problem, the quicker to resolve, the quicker to invoicing, the happier the client. And then you can take those, and those are the two verticals that have approached us directly most immediately. But one of you that's on the call I know is a large consulting firm and a financial advisors behind that. And so ultimately what you're looking for is the better face-to-face contact. And for your junior reps, you're interested in how would you escalate that up to a senior rep, get an impact, track that impact, and then come back down to the primary contact that you're having. Right. A couple other things I want to cover, but again, Alex, I'm going to take a quick little pause to see if there's been anything that's come in on chat that's worth addressing. And John, I'm going to give you...
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, great.
Sorry, this is from Jesse. He's wondering, do you support text in the contact center? And how long are the call details stored?
Yes, we do support text. Great question. And really, we haven't defined an endpoint on the storage. Really, there's going to be a business model for what works for you. Right now, we're doing it indefinitely. But what is storage, right? And where is storage located? John, if you want to put that on your list to talk about a little bit more, but we haven't put a limit to call detail storage. A customer would have full access in our current model. But again, that becomes a different data center problem depending on the size of that storage. But John, again, if you want to get into the technical side of it, my marketing answer is that there is no limit, but we all know from a technical perspective, Alex, that there are some physical limits to storage, and there are some security requirements around storage. Some of these industries wouldn't want storage for terribly long. Some of them would, and we'll be able to accommodate whichever model comes up. Okay.
And I believe we support text in the contact center, but I think you cut out on that answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do support text. The idea of the interaction is that an individual would register themselves into contact center, either as an individual or as a member of a federated organization. And they can register their cell number, their personal home number, and the contact center could reach out to them. And one of those methods would be text. In that text, you can get a URL that would then help you come in. You can respond via text. That URL is going to be a link to a WebRTC client that John's going to show. And so essentially, if you want to join on video, you'll get the WebRTC message back. It'll also have a voice number if you just wanted to call in. And because the assumption is that you are a registered member of the community, we know who you are, and then we can track your data back either to you as an individual or to you within your organization. And those data points, by design, are very separate. Great question. Sorry, my audio cut out. Anything else come in?
That's all for now. I'll keep you posted.
Good. John, the talking about video contact center usually takes me 5 to 10 minutes. And then I've got some follow-up things I want to cover on that. There are a couple of the what-ifs that I didn't cover yet. I'm going to pause on those because I feel like I'm talking a little bit too much. I love this stuff so much I could go on and on. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about video contact center and then come back to the what-ifs because there are some problems we're solving. It's better to show the technology. So there's your 5-minute warning, John. As we built it, we had some market assumptions that we want to just disclose. And quite frankly, on this slide, we're actually looking for some feedback from those of you that have already created a contact center or use contact centers. And so a number of you that have reached out to me ahead of this webinar said you have some post interest. Well, here's the space that I would like some feedback on. We know that video needs ubiquity, meaning that it needs to be on any device or on almost any network. And we know we need to interoperate with the PBX infrastructure, so there sort of goes with others. We're also planning mid-stack there to try to work with the cloud services like PBXs and this, LifeSize and BlueJeans, Pixip and Fuse and whomever. And so some of you are going to be much better at those infrastructures than we are. And so in the space of collaboration outwardly, we're going to need some help. or a lot of money to do it ourselves. And we're actually more of the work with others kind of guys. And so we have built this based on WebRTC, and we have some underlying assumptions, as you see there, around Sugar, CRM, and call detail reporting. But there are other infrastructures that you're better in than we are, and we're going to be looking for some help. We see this as an early launch in telemedicine, as I've been talking about a little bit, but easily expandable beyond. But John and I have an expertise in that space, or in that consulting space. Beyond that, I'm not a governments guy, and so there are some of you that may see an application like this valuable in the government space or the education space, and we're going to be looking for powerhouse partners that get us into those. And so we believe we can build this video contact center to work with you, but it's the with you part of this that I think will help us deliver this to market. And there are some opt-in, opt-out things. Sort of the points on the bottom are really about this not just being a B2B solution. That John and I have oftentimes talked about how much we believe in this age of Jetsons technology, that we should be able to connect anywhere, and the marvel of what we can do on our iPhone or our mobile phones. I'm an Android guy myself, but the marvel of what we can do on these devices eclipses what I thought was possible when I was a kid watching the Jetsons. And so for us, we know that the next generation is going to even have more assumptions about what they can and should be able to do. But we still have some privacy concerns. So we want people to be able to choose which device and where and how they get connected. All right. I just had looks like someone hit the content sharing button. There comes John's desktop. John, I think you're going to have to stop in order for me to go back to my slides. I think your PC went to sleep. There you go. He's checking to make sure I'm paying attention. Once in a while I do. Great, so those are the market scope assumptions. And while we have this built today as a B2B solution, we do also see the value in some of the pay-as-you-go apps on a mobile phone. So we're looking for some feedback and some thoughts around where consumers could come into this as an opt-in and pay-as-you-go solution. John, I know you and I have spent a lot of time on market scope. I'm going to move on to the actual contact center slide, but if you wanted to say anything else about market scope, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm moving to contact center. Going once, going twice. John's silence.
No, you can go forward.
Sweet. Thank you, sir. All right, I'm just going to leave this slide up there so later if you come back and you want to take a look at some of the underlying hub and spoke technology we have here, from cloud to you, take a look. I'm not a slide reader. And then we've got some partners that we've worked with in the past that I'm referencing here that I think are going to be useful for you to get a sense of where we get the idea around medical workflow. John's brother and he have been involved with MedWeb for many, many years, and I've learned a lot about what the medical community needs around workflow and how protected that information is. And so we're going to live on some of their assumptions. And they make a product that I want to show next. So there's a value in what MedWeb has done, and they do a great solution called Collage. We're going multi-point, right? So they're doing a point-to-point consult, and they do this amazing job of tracking what radiologists have needed for years, this sort of the side of the page workflow. And there's lots of DICOM readers out there that attempt to do these kind of great things. What we have underneath the hood is the intelligence to track what they're doing and to whom they're doing it, so that when we have these consults, like MedWeb's Collage does, in our environment, we're then going to be able to create the external and internal links and then the details around that so that you can invoice, bill, and report appropriately. Beyond that, there's also some link integrations that we've worked with. And so we're able to improve on the Microsoft solution in that we can get more than the on-screen performance and integrate out to WebRTC. What we do like about what they've done in the Microsoft space is the easeability of the instant messaging and the high level of adoption. So in some of our works with others space, we really want to make sure that Video Contact Center has that assumption of what people adopt through a click, like they see on link. And people have been very acclimated to the quality of what they see on link, and we're able to deliver that over WebRTC. So there's a tiles assumption about the user interface that we're tracking, and in our early version, as you see here, we've played with. There's this is one based on medical, obviously, so which specialist do you want and which skill set do you want? The assumption beyond this side of the video contact center and this test deployment we did was a group of agents with different skill sets and an individual or a practitioner who needed access to them. And so as a true contact center goes, you click on a specialty, and that specialty rings against a bank of agents. And we've got the routing tools to make sure that you get to decide which agent for which issue gets reached. The assumption here is about a video call. So if I want to see and render content out to a cardiologist, and you're as a pay-as-you render services cardiologist, we could ring you if you're logged in. Not unlike a lot of outsourced consult services that exist in the medical field today. We're just enabling some of that with a tablet feel and a video feed. All right. Some of the other pieces that we want to make sure that we account for. I realize that this slide doesn't do it well, so I'll just go to the next one. This is just showing me as an agent dialing in, watching my agent dashboard, and tracking it against the CDR. Next time around, we'll improve on that. We have worked on workflow, and I'm a fairly excited about ShoreTel Contact Center guy. So some of the logic that I learned with ShoreTel's voice contact center and the drag and drop relationship to administering a contact center is the same logic that John and I are bringing into the workflows of a video contact center. We know that skill set routing and needs-based routing, skills of the agent and needs of the caller, that type of routing needs to be intuitive for a non-tech person. And so we're going to enable a dashboard that allows a customer to modify the routing and the permissions and the type of calls in a video contact center. So if I'm a specialist that hates to be on camera, but you still want to reach me, you may request a video call, but then I relegate that call to a voice call. And we want that to be seamless without an interruption of the service rendered. Great. And then in the grand scheme of things, we want to allow for some OEM branding. So here's one of the early versions of what we've done with Pixel Rivers brand on it. John's going to show the same thing. We've got an agent side and that's one of our sales guy, Mike, logged in as a patient coming in to a consult. And then the assumption of the slide here is it programmable and movable real estate so that you can have more of one functionality within your organization or less of another. So, John, I know I want to turn it over to you for the technical side of this, a little bit more about kind of what's under the hood, and we've got some Q&A for you as you go into it. So I'm going to stop my sharing side, come back on camera, and then turn it over to you, sir. Input. Put my ugly face back on camera. It's all you, John.
Okay. Let me show my desktop now. Hold on. So basically, we just took, to understand the technologies out there, we just basically took a framework that would allow us to create communication with end users. So we've created a couple panels here. We have the chat requests that come in, and someone requested that a little bit earlier about doing chats, and then we have the agents that'll pick up the chats right below that. If you give me a second, hey, I'll just have someone come in and start a chat request to give you an idea of some of the capabilities. Because we're presenting this, I realize that some of the movable screens won't allow us to do certain functions, but we've we had the chat come in. I clicked on the go button, and basically now it's an active chat with myself and Joe, and I can start to talk to him, and he can respond back with any questions that he may have. And then, there's a couple things that people are asking about how long we can keep chat. It really depends on the system we integrate into on your side. The video contact center is about allowing the users to use any type of video source to connect to an agent, and then using the information and pass it back into the hospital information system, in this case Sugar. It really doesn't matter what the application would be. And we can escalate the call to start a video with Joe, which on my small real estate is not going to work out so well, and it's actually Ian, I guess. And we can change the screen size as we need to collapse certain modules as well. To allow us to change it around, which is kind of handy if you have a multiple person environment. Did anybody have any questions, or any questions come in, Alex?
Nope, just a reminder to put your questions on the live chat, and I'll relay them to Randy and John.
All right, awesome. I guess at this point, is there anything that I missed?
Sorry, John, I was muted, and I was answering that question for you without having unmuted. Not terribly useful on my side. I'm pretty good at that. Let's just talk a little bit about the interoperable ecosystem, John. So I know I mentioned it at the top of it, but what is the underlying platform design in your mind, and hosted versus prem? What models do you feel like we can support? Oh, you muted, you know. It's our first video conference call.
Not true.
You can support both an on-prem. A lot of it will come down to how sophisticated the end user is. So if it's a large contact center of, 500 agents, they're going to probably want it on premise. Whereas if it's
or their
small
cloud
or practice, they're going to want it cloud-based.
Yeah, one of the law firms that is poking at us a little bit about this, John, has asked, well, what do we do about privacy in a multi-tenant environment? And I imagine you could probably speak a little bit to that around your medical. You have a lot more medical experience than I do. And there's a second one that came into me around workflow. But let's start with the first one. What do we do about privacy when we're doing a multi-tenant environment?
Well, you have to follow all the standards to provide privacy. I guess my best example would be Salesforce. They offer a whole EMR package on Salesforce that's completely HIPAA compliant, so the privacy is there. It's all about how the database is chunked up and encrypted and secured.
Great.
And we can go through that, on a customer requirement basis, or right now we're just following the open standards of this is what we need to do for HIPAA compliancy, or SOX, or any, it's all about the function in the data center to divide the data up and secure it by customer.
And then how does how many calls, what's the density that we can handle on an ongoing basis? What's the upper limit that you envision for an individual deployment?
It's really hardware based, so it's not, there's really no upper side that I think our clienteles would reach.
Right.
So I'm not so worried about concurrent calls or any of those components.
Great. Yeah, just it's a small checklist. Yeah, they're the thing for us though on screen that we want to maximize. Right now, I haven't seen the latest version, John, and I know we're kind of waiting to reveal that stuff. But on screen, we're doing what most other people are doing. So, the 4 to 8 people on screen. But really, what we were looking for some feedback on that is what is usable and what is needed on screen. Because as we've done the 48-person video call on screen, a lot of that becomes relatively unnecessary. And the design for a contact center is different than a multi-party call. right? So that I think in some of the questions that I've received, and I got in prep for today, I wanted to make the distinction between what we're going to support for video contact centers, which is usually agent to individual to specialist, so it's 3 to 4 people, versus a video conference call with 16 people on screen and a primary speaker and content sharing. We can support both of those, but I wanted to see if there's anything else you wanted to say about the density there.
Yeah, the density it's driven by the equipment that's connected. I mean, and the function that you're trying to deliver. I mean, if you want to do, especially you're only going to have 3 or 4, it's going to work great. If your intention is to connect 64 people to it, they're going to be really small, at least in the WebRTC version.
Right.
So there's going to be limitations based on the technology that you're using to view the video contact center. Sure. So from that perspective, since we're connecting to all the standard video codecs out there, plus you have the option for WebRTC, which is a nice platform. A lot will depend on the function that the company is trying to use it for. In the agent-based model, which we were showing, it's all about connecting to individuals and providing a custom experience to that one individual. So video contact center is very easy from that perspective. The trick is on the workflow, probably with the agents and their subspecialties on the agents, on the workflow on that side.
All right, Alex, I know we asked you a few times during this if there were anything that came in. I'm going to do some, I know you have me queued up to do a little bit of wrap up, so I'm going to make that transition in a moment. So Alex, anything else that's come in for you?
Yes, we have another 2-part question from Jesse. I know we discussed a little bit about the features, but he wants to know what contact center features are supported, for example, call transfer, conferencing in another agent, and the like.
John, you want that one, or do you want me to go? Your call.
I'll let you go.
Great. Yeah, so by design, absolutely call transfer, multiple parties. Right now we've tested and are running through 4 people on a call, but it's easy enough for us to get to this multi-party or MCU bridging call. In our design around contact center, it really is about an individual who needs a service and an individual or group of individuals who can deliver the service. And so I call into a contact center like I'm calling Visa for my credit card. There's a queue of agents that can be reachable. And so that's usually a point-to-point interaction. We then elevate that and transfer that if we need a specialist. And so we'll have up to 4 people right now in the current design being able to consult and confer and transfer in and out, all while maintaining the integrity of the data and the call. We certainly could go beyond that. We just haven't heard the business side of why people would need to go beyond that. So we have to think about this very specifically as contact center, and what we've built today is just that: an individual who needs a service and an individual or a bank of individuals that can deliver the service, be that medical or legal. The vision that we have around this too is that eventually, as this contact center infrastructure grows, we're going to want an ecosystem between organizations or between devices. And so that if I'm having a medical interaction, but then I also need to talk to my lawyer, are they part of the video contact center ecosystem, and can they be brought in? And so there are some things there that we're assuming yes, because of the WebRTC technology. And because of the workflow stuff that John knows really well from his medical side of it. When you do it, you typically have to report against it. So, Alex, I think that was just the first part of that question. I'm not sure if I captured the second part of it. So.
His question specifically was, are all calls recorded, are all the calls that are recorded cradled to grave, or can you choose?
You can choose. Yeah, we're picking the logic out of the proven methodologies of voice contact centers, right? So that there's allow lists and deny lists around recording, things that are completely verboten, that you should never record, or optional to never record. I don't want my personal calls recorded, so I should be able to give my organization a list of numbers. But then everything else I do on that phone is business related, so it should be recorded. And cradle to grave is really nice. It also becomes part of the density problem if you're looking at video cradle to grave, which then brings us back to one of those early questions around what gets stored and where it gets stored. It's just a matter of, like, what do you really need? John, I don't know if there's a couple other things I know you and I have talked about in that space. I don't want to go too much further into it because I don't want to give away our secret sauce, but anything else you'd like to add around recording or cradle to grave? Did I miss anything, sir?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Alex, should I do the wrap-up, or you getting anything else on chat?
Yeah, I know we started a little late, so but we probably should start wrapping up. I think if anybody has any other questions, feel free to let us know, and we can always get back to you. But yeah, let's do the wrap-up.
Okay, great. So at the top of it, I talked about the fact that we are early stage. We know it, we like it, we see some of, and there's actually a couple of you who are registered for this, maybe you're tuned in now, who are actually already running video contact centers. So just in full disclosure, we don't see ourselves being the only or the end all of video contact centers, but we've built something that we're really excited about, and it works. And so in the first part of that is that with the audience that we have in here, some customers, some competitors, and some industry folks, and some potential investors, what we want to do is take this to the next level. Because as we've built what we have, we know it works, we think it's sexy, and we'll go incrementally with what we're doing. What we believe, however, and there's more to what we're doing than belief, but what we believe is that we can answer some questions. That if we get connected and do video like we're doing here, or if we can make video available anywhere, like a lot of manufacturers have done, and if we can put it in the cloud, there's got to be more to it than just video conferencing, because that problem has been solved, right? 15 years ago, I was selling Polycom FX units, chasing the big players who were doing that for a living, and now we all have a $2,000 codec or a smart kid with a PC turning Skype into a conference room video solution. So we know anyone with a good internet connection and a camera can create a video conferencing call, and we still know that there's absolutely a space for doing it really, really well. So that business isn't dead, but given that it's become so democratized and that we're everywhere and cameras are on almost every device, what's next? And an ecosystem that's built on good data collection, good integration to modalities, and able to be white labeled or federated between organizations can create a new way of communicating. And so we've done that part. And as we do that part, we then look at the data, how do we bill against it, or how do we make money? So the final piece of that is just because the video contact center exists, who cares? The next piece becomes, what's the business behind it? What call detail reports have you collected? What CRM have you integrated with? And what are you doing with that data to improve the way your company functions? So, and that's where we really need some help next, or that's where John and I are taking the development next, is into those bigger questions, not just that it can be done, but now that it can be done, how do we change the nature of how we communicate, collect data, report, bill, and get our business done with it. So that's the vision, Alex. One last thing, if there's any questions, and then I'll talk about how you contact us next if you want to follow up. So nothing, going once, going twice.
I do. Yes. One more quick question. Can this be browser based?
Yeah. So what John was showing was browser based. So that's it's a WebRTC app. John, do you want to talk a little bit about WebRTC's limitations today? Or, I mean, people could look that up on their own if they want. You're muted, dude. Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, it's, WebRTC itself has its own limitations. Yeah. It's a nice tool for the browser. I think one of the things that's nice with Video Contact Center is we're allowing you to utilize some of your existing hardware that you've already spent money on, as opposed to just having a browser-based solution.
Yeah. And I'm hoping for better browser-based delivery of video. We see a lot of it with our friends over at Life Size and Blue Jeans, Fuse is doing it. So there's a lot of folks doing great browser-based video, and so quite frankly, in the realm of integration in the ecosystem that we're building, if you've got those skill sets, bring them to us, because we could definitely use some partners or the money to build it ourselves. And as John and I have said throughout not only this seminar, but others and future ones, we'll say, we know we don't want to go this alone. It's kind of not the way we roll, but we know we want to do it right. And so if you've got that skill set that can help us with Browser X that you need for your business, let us know. All right, Alex, anything else come in?
Nope.
Great.
But
Our plan then is to solicit some feedback from those of you that attended. So you'll get another email from Alex. We've got some folks, angel-ish folks, privately that want to talk to us about the results of this webinar and any of that feedback. And then we're going to go quiet for about 4 or 5 months. But we are planning to have a product available for channel in 2015. And so this is only the first shallow end of the pool. We're dipping our toe in for kind of a launch of the video contact center. We've had it in production for about 6 months. You've seen an early version of it. We don't have a lot of customers on it, but we have people playing with it for us and giving us some feedback. But we know in 2015 there's a business to be launched on it, and we're soliciting, competitors who want to be collaborators, some co-opetition, channel, and friends with money. All right, John, did I miss anything? Once, going twice? All right, John's going to say goodbye. My phone number is 5. Thank you, sir. I'm at 516-282-2812. Alex, thanks for setting this up, and everyone have a great day.
of course, real quick, I
Thanks,
just also
guys.
wanted to wrap up. If you want to be a trial beta tester, we're giving away raffle tickets for a 55-inch HD Samsung TV. So register to do it, because why not? You could win a TV.
Funny, and I don't know if you know, Alex, I'm actually getting a lot of the responses on it. So either they're very interested in video contact center or a 55-inch TV, which are pretty cheap these days. So thank you for your interest, regardless if it's for the cheap TV or, which 55-inch is pretty darn big. If you're interested in TV, great, but also thank you for your interest in video contact center. Over and out.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.